Awesome. Okay, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be here today with my dear friend Shauna. Shauna and I have been working together for a little over 6 months now, and we are here to just kind of join in reflection together over what we have learned together and what her journey has been with health and wellness, but particularly in coaching with me. So Shauna, thank you so much for being here. And I'm so I love seeing your face. I'm so used to seeing you, we meet over the phone. So it's so nice to see your glowing, lovely face today. Thanks for being here with me.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Shauna. So first of all, again, just thanks for being willing to share your story. I know that this is not always a comfortable thing for some people. I know the clients I've been asking to join me on these, some have said yes, some have said no. And I understand why. This is personal stuff. But hopefully we're not going to have you bare your soul too much today. Mostly just looking for, where did you start and what made you think, it's time for me to invite someone else to help me in my journey? What made you kind of think, maybe I need to find a health coach?
I think for me, a lot of it started out as a desire to lose weight, which ended up not being my main actually focus now. But I had tried every diet out there, it felt like, and just we had so much food confusion on what was really good for me, what was not, and this is labeled as bad and this is good. And I felt like I had found a program that I was liking, and because I was all about the programs, right? And it ended up, there was so much inflammation in my body. I just wasn't doing well with it. There were macro cyclings and lots of, some days were almost like a keto diet. And I just really discovered, man, I'm just ruining my body because I have so much inflammation, so much pain all the time. And I had just recently been diagnosed, I think at that time when I met you, with, I was going to a doctor trying to discover, do I have rheumatoid arthritis or lupus or what's going on? And I Hashimoto's all of a sudden was popping up. And so I was just having a lot of health concerns in addition to my weight now, and nothing seemed to be happening. And I was really caught up into that diet mentality of having to have a program to fix me. Mm-hmm. And so in addition to all of the clutter that seemed to be going on in my mind, I was really surrounded by clutter in my home as well. Mm-hmm. And I have, for the last over 20 years, have been a piano teacher and raising kids, and just let go of myself as the main focus of concern, and trying to take care of everybody else. And so I was just really ready for a mental shift. Mm-hmm. I can't remember, I think I had met you maybe at a health fair or something, I had bought your recipe book, and I had it for over a year before I actually called you.
That's right.
Yes. But all of a sudden I realized I'd been feeling a real draw towards just food freedom, to be able to feel better about my body and myself. And I saw one of your videos pop up on YouTube, and I was just really drawn to your style of coaching. And so that's how I started.
Oh, it's so fun for me to look back. That just seems like an eternity ago. But yeah, so we ended up working together about a little over 6 months ago. But yeah, we kind of touched base a year before that.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm remembering that now. Oh, it's beautiful. I love so much of what you shared of just looking for food freedom. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to use that, because I do think that is what so many women and kind of recovering yo-yo dieters
Yes.
are looking for, because we're so exhausted. We're just so burned out and exhausted from all the, like you said, the programs, and it's just one after another. And I can't think of any other word other than exhausting for it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I had given over my control and my intuition even to letting somebody else tell me what was best for my body. And there was so much confliction on fruit and just and a potato, or there's just it
yeah,
seems silly now, but at the time it was like I don't even know what I'm supposed to eat. And so I actually had completely stalled and stopped planning menus for my family. It was like I didn't know what to do.
yeah,
It was just every day by going by the seat of my pants, what's something I can throw together, and I don't even have any trust that this is good for us or
yeah,
anything. So
yeah. It's I was talking with someone the other day, and they said, yeah, it's like I look something up and then I walk away feeling like I actually know less. It's
yes.
that feeling of the more we learn, the less we know of, because there will be controversies over potatoes and over fruit and what's good for me, what's not good for me. So really what brought you to work with me was not so much I need someone else to tell me what to do, but I need someone to help me listen more to me, right? Tapping more
Well,
into your intuition.
and I have to tell you that I am naturally not the type of person to seek a coach. I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah,
And or that I have to follow such strict guidelines that it's just not attainable. It's not realistic for my life, right?
yeah,
And so I was really scared, to be honest. I knew that it was really taking a jump there to allow myself to receive input from somebody. And especially, I think I was afraid of failure.
yeah,
I was afraid of my perfectionism,
yeah.
which has been a huge overarching theme that you've really helped me with, as well as letting go of that perfectionism, that let's just take little baby steps.
Yep,
What's one thing that we can do,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fears are very real, especially when we have tried literally everything. We've done everything. We've been around the block several times, and we're still just thinking, gosh, what is it? What is it going to take to actually feel like I can own this and feel good? So yeah, fear of failure. You're not alone in that. I would say, if all my other clients were in this Zoom call right now, they'd all be going, yep. Fear of failure is very real, because that's really what dieting sets us up for, is failure. It's baked in. So yes, you took a leap of faith and we got into the coaching process. So tell us a little bit about that. What was the coaching process like for you? And I'm curious, like, what did it meet your expectations? Was it what you expected it would be and would feel like? Or were there some surprises? And we ended up kind of working on things a little differently than I think you anticipated at first. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I think it was different than I had expected, in a much better way, though. Um, I I was picturing, one of these exercise trainers or whatever, these coaches coming in and telling you, kicking your rear and okay, you're doing this and this bad and you need to change this
Yeah.
and I was so relieved to really discover that that's not at all what it was about. And you were just so gracious and allowed me so much freedom. That is what really um, sink it in for me. I was allowed the freedom to decide for myself, what is it we want to do? We had our blueprint plan that you helped me to go over. What is it that I even want?
Yeah.
What are the different areas in my life that I'm feeling that I need improvement in? And okay, let's write them down. And there was no wrong or right answer. It's not like you had an agenda in mind that you were going to tell me exactly what I needed and had to do. It was you just were so just so kind and supportive in allowing me to come up with what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And each of our calls, you would help me to remember. It was such good grounding for me, because you would help me to go back. Okay, these are the things that you were really wanting last time. Is that the same? Has anything changed? What is the one next thing now that you feel good about this thing you've been doing? What's the one next thing that we can do to? And that, for a perfectionist, sometimes we don't get all those little baby steps in there. We just think we have to do it all right now and be perfect at it. And it's just not realistic.
Yes.
And so I really, as we went through this process, I found myself developing a lot of grace for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that, what was the saying that, there was something that you said one time about, like, if you mess up, it's okay. You have the power to change with that very next bite of food, or the very next step you take, your next decision, whatever it is. It's not a permanent thing that you've just ruined all your future, and so what if you mess up? You're able to live and learn from it. And I have really found freedom in that. I feel like my whole mindset has done a 180 in allowing myself to have that internal dialogue with myself. So that's been a big thing for me.
And that's the big thing for me. That is in a nutshell what I love about what we get to do in this coaching process. It really does come back to just being engaged in your own process, which no diet or program ever teaches you how to do that. So that's so beautiful. You painted that picture beautifully of what that feels like to be in that coaching process. You mentioned the blueprint. For those that are watching this that aren't aware of what that is, basically we create a vision statement, like you said, of where do we want to go? Where are we headed with this? What is most important to me? And a little bit of that maybe had to do with that little weight loss piece, but there was so much more to that, right? It was so much more about what you wanted to gain, how you wanted to grow, and how you wanted to show up in life a little differently. So it's where, health coaching and life coaching, there's a really beautiful overlap. And I think that your journey was a really good example of that, of, wow, this has so much more to do with just tapping into what I want and tuning into my intuition of what is my next step to get what I want, to create what I want. I love that. Thank you.
Well, and it's kind of funny how this journey has taken me in different ways that I wasn't necessarily, things that were on my mind, but I didn't realize were such a priority to me, because at the time I was coming out of kind of a transition in life with my children leaving, and me deciding that I needed to quit teaching piano and just focus on my health in my home and getting my home in order. And I realized how much of my home has affected me because I've ignored so much of it. That I went down this whole journey of decluttering my home. And I put off some of my other goals in order to do that for a while. And then all of a sudden, a few months in, I started realizing I had so much more bandwidth mentally to be able to tackle some of those other things that were going on with the way I thought about things, to have more time to explore some new recipes, to get excited about some foods and healthier ways of being. I started yoga several times a week. Well, no, I had actually been doing yoga before I think I met you. I've been doing that for a while, but it became much more of in alignment. My mind and my body were becoming more in alignment, I think. And I was starting to do more deep breathing exercises like you encourage. And all of a sudden, especially in the last couple of months, I've seen the fruits of having the ability to start organizing my menus and having a template for my week so that it's easier to plan. And I'm actually excited about cooking. And beforehand, it's like, how many vegetables does that require me to chop? That's going to be a lot of work, you know?
Yeah.
But now I feel the energy of my food,
Mhm.
which may sound a little crazy, but beforehand, I would choose foods around how is this going to numb me almost, like how is this going to make me feel like all of the sugar or fat laden whatever, and now I can feel the heaviness of certain things, or I can feel that headache that I'm going to have before I even have the temptation to eat it. You know, I'm
Yeah.
looking at it in the store and thinking, no, that I would have bought that before, but I can feel how that's going to feel in my body just thinking about it.
Absolutely.
And
I
now I,
love this.
over the chopping vegetables for a thing in my family, I have joy in my food preparation, which I did not have for
Yeah.
years and years. Yeah.
Yeah. And this, all of what you're describing about how you're feeling about food and meal planning and shopping, that was literally just within the last month or two.
Yeah.
And it was almost like we had to lay the foundation to open up that willingness and readiness to go there. We could
Yeah.
have started there. And I think when you first connected with me, you thought that that was where you needed to start. But
Right.
yeah, we both kind of found, whoa, maybe we could free up some bandwidth here. Maybe we could lay a foundation for this so that it feels more natural, more easy, enjoyable.
Yeah.
So we're always looking kind of for the backdoor approach. And yeah, I think sometimes it's surprising to see what we set goals around. So you mentioned decluttering your home. You know, people that know that you're working with a health coach, they might be like, you have a decluttering goal? That's interesting. Some people that are a little more tuned into the woo-woo, they get it, but some of us are like, I don't see the connection. But there is this kind of an
Absolutely.
energetic connection between, yeah, just the bandwidth we have for the things in our life and then the tasks in our life that does have a lot to do with food. So I love it. I love finding the little backdoor unexpected goals that really open it up to make the other goals, that the obvious ones, to make them easier in the future. So I love it.
Well, I just have to thank you too, though, because like we were talking about earlier, your coaching style has been just so supportive compared to what I thought it would be. I was really apprehensive and nervous about it, but I love how you would really celebrate my successes and really focus on the things that I was doing. And even if they were just little baby improvements.
Absolutely.
And then you would just listen to me, let me talk through things. And I learned a lot through being able to just vocalize my own things that were going on in my head. Because sometimes we don't have somebody to talk through those things with it, where we think we don't need to, you know, it's just floating around in our head. But that you would say, I think I'm hearing this, you know, or maybe do we need to switch our focus to this? And you were just so open to letting it flow to where I needed it to be. And it would just feel so right and I always have left every one of our coaching sessions just feeling really uplifted and empowered that, oh, I can do this. Okay, this is totally doable. I can do it.
I'm so glad that you felt that way, and that you sensed the power of that it wasn't this really great sage advice I gave you. I didn't like dive in and solve your problems for you. But what true coaching really is, it is empowerment, and it's facilitating. I'm just facilitating this discussion between you and you. And I'm just here to guide it and to support it. And you're exactly right. I think one of the biggest values of working with a coach is being able to verbally process what has just kind of been clanging around in here for way too long. And we don't have a safe place to just lay it all out. We're not going to lay that out with our spouse. We're not going to lay that out with even our girlfriend or our mom. Like it's, we need a neutral third party. There's something about having that neutral third party that has no agenda. You know, I have no, like you said, there's no priority or agenda as far as, you know, I need you to do this and this and this so that it reinforces me, because I'm just your coach. I'm not your spouse. I'm not your daughter. You know, like there's that neutrality is really powerful. And you capitalized on that.
Yeah, I remember I was nervous, especially because I know that how big of a priority whole food plant-based is, you know, to you. And I know how good it could be for me, but I was really resistant and not feeling like I was ready to just dive in 100%, you know, but I never have felt judged, and even bringing things up, questioning things, you know, and asking for support and, well, why do you think this way or that? It's just been a very non-judgmental process that I felt supported instead of judged, which is very important for those of us that are searching for and have questionings. And sometimes we need to learn by trial and error too, a little bit. And
absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, one of the main skills that I gained in my training, working toward, I have a national board certification in health and wellness coaching. One of those skill sets is called motivational interviewing. And so you experienced that through the open-ended questions that I asked and the reflections. So what you're saying is reflecting things back to you, summarizing the thoughts that you shared, and affirmations, right? Of acknowledging the things and the strengths that you already had. Okay. Those are like the tools that we use in motivational interviewing. And when we do that, it's facilitating you in doing it in your way, for your own reasons, and in your own timing. And that is the highest priority, because any of us that have children know that if you just try to tell them what to do, you're going to get a lot of pushback. But if you help them come to their own conclusions, especially teenagers, right? You help them come to their own conclusions, then they have buy-in, right? So all of us, we are all human. This is how human psychology works. I saw a meme once that said, I was going to do that, and then you told me to. It's like, we know, it's like, we know that we are supposed to have our own choices, and it needs to be our idea.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. I'm glad that you had that experience and that you recognized it for what it was, that this is helpful. This is what I need. I don't need somebody to tell me every step to make. I need someone to support me in making my decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And you've been a great cheerleader for me.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about that, because you mentioned celebrating, right? Recognizing even the little things that you were doing. And you mentioned perfectionism. As perfectionists or recovering perfectionists, oh my goodness, nothing is ever good enough. No progress is ever good enough. If it's not perfect, it's basically zero. It's nothing. Right. And we have to challenge that, because that's honestly just not true. That's really just not the way the world works.
That was such a stumbling block to me. I can't even believe how many years that it's taken to get to that point where I can release that and just be excited to learn. And actually, I think we talked in our last call about how it's been so liberating, and I've been excited to learn through my mistakes, and by making mistakes, that I'm actually okay to make mistakes now.
Wow.
When I eat something that I give into something that I know is not really for my better good, and then I reap the results of how I feel in that headache or that just the sluggishness or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, Okay. That was just a confirmation. Okay. That my body is letting me know that. And I'm much more in tune with my body now because of that. And it reminds me next time to remember that.
Yeah.
And instead of just doing it because somebody told me I shouldn't do it, you know?
Absolutely. Which is going to
Yeah.
carry you so much further, right?
Oh,
When
absolutely.
it's experiential and when it's coming from a place of choice. Oh,
Yes.
that's how we create a sustainable change.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. What you mentioned there of actually being okay in the learning process and even in the mistakes or the setbacks. We can frame that as you really moved from what we would call a fixed mindset, and we coached and coached and coached, and we stepped into a growth mindset.
Uh,
And it is like, if I could identify the before and after for you, Shauna, that's what it was. Moving from a fixed mindset to a
yeah.
growth mindset. So
Yeah.
as we think of that and other things that we worked on in coaching, like that's one of the tools that you are walking away with and that you get to take with you for the rest of your life.
That has expanded my mind and my hope, my abilities to do things more than anything. It really has. I still have a long ways to go physically to probably get to my balanced ideal weight of where I want to be, but I have made so much progress with my mental shifts that I'm not worried about that anymore. That isn't my number one focus anymore. I'm very content and happy with the processes of what's going on in my life, and with the enjoyment that I'm receiving from my food and being enlivened by good, healthy things. I just am so grateful for that shift there. That was instrumental for my progress.
Absolutely. It's really kind of this working from the inside out sort of process that we go through. Most people that come to work with me, they start, unless they've watched all of the videos and they know that Danielle's not going to start with your weight loss goal.
Yeah.
Most people do come and say, well, I want to lose this much weight and I'm so stressed and so frustrated and so overwhelmed by it. And I just have no idea where to go next. Can you help me? And that's kind of where you were, Shauna. So
Yeah.
I have seen again and again with the women that I work with, that is the hardest hurdle to be able to engage with their weight loss desires differently. So can you talk about that a little bit of, like, you've kind of painted the picture of where you were and where you are now, but can you give any like bit of advice of helping people get over that hurdle of trusting the process and setting that weight loss fixation aside?
That was hard for me.
I
I
know.
remember actually the first few times we met together, it just seemed like that wasn't a priority for Danielle, and not to worry about it, and it's okay. That would come, but it was going to be slow. And I didn't want to hear that it was going to be slow.
I know.
I really didn't. I just wanted something that, okay, if I eat this way, it's just going to automatically shed off of me like this much every month or whatever, and um, I think it was a very slow and subtle change that happened in me. I really can't pinpoint any major dramatic thing other than how my thought processes have changed as I've decluttered my physical environment around me
Mhm.
and focused on. I think I focused more, to be honest, on my coming to accept and love myself and take care of myself. Like now, well, through this process, I've been allowing myself the freedom to take a nap when I need it in the afternoons.
Yeah.
Wow, that's, and not feel guilty over it if I do, right?
Yeah.
And um, another thing that keeps coming back to me is slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
Because it isn't through doing major things. It's those little micro steps, just little tiny things like this week, I'm just going to focus on making sure that I have my fruit every day or vegetables every day, or even this day, not even looking at the whole week. I'm looking at, okay, what's my next meal? What can I add into it that makes me feel good right now?
Yeah.
I think that letting go of perfectionism has been a huge thing, but that didn't happen overnight as well. It was a very slow and incremental.
Yeah.
Being able to just have the trial and error, the freedom to do that,
Yeah.
and not to beat myself up.
Mhm.
The I realized actually about 2 months ago that I had lost my diet mentality when January 1st rolled around, and I realized I didn't have any plans for a New Year's resolution that dealt with anything food related. And I didn't have the next latest and greatest plan that I'd read a book on or had purchased a program on and was planning to start January 1st. It's like, I had no desire. It was like not even in my mind. And I saw other people in my friend circle doing things and realized, oh, that would have been me last year and the year before and all of those times.
Yes.
And I'm over that. Yeah. So
That makes
really
me
don't
so
know.
happy.
I don't know what one little thing it was. It was all of these little tiny micro things and just slow and steady, reframing how I think about food and my body and learning to listen to myself was another big thing that you helped to teach me to do. Yeah.
Yeah. All of those things. Just beautiful. And that it's a beautiful process to watch. It's a beautiful process to facilitate because I just, I start working with you and with other women and I see just the light and the goodness in you, but I see that it's just like, it's been squashed. And so it's like, I just see it as this process of like, just taking that weight or that ceiling or whatever this is. And it's different for each person that I work with. But yeah, for you, it was the perfectionism. It was the just unrelenting perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big one.
Well, it helped me a lot too through our first several coaching calls. I think you would point things out to me that I couldn't even see. And that's where I really value having the coaching program, because I'm one to normally say, okay, I can read a book and I can just do this myself. I don't need anybody else's help. I have it. I'm good. But you really helped me to see things that I couldn't see from a neutral, perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, an outside perspective, you would point out things. Oh, I guess I am doing that better now, or to see the progress of where we've come from to where we were then, and then the next month, and to point those things out has been really motivating for me to see that.
It kind of builds our confidence in the process and in the baby steps and the power of those baby steps. Because when we're just going, we might be taking those baby steps, but we might not even really be giving ourselves kind of credit and pause and celebration of those. When we do, it's like, whoa, I am making changes. I am evolving. I am changing. Okay, I believe in this now. And that's what really makes the diet mentality just slough off, because you realize, oh, there's something else here. There's something else that I can lean into. There's an alternative. So, love it. So good. Okay. Wow. I feel like we've covered, I wanted to know what tools you were walking away with, and I wanted to know just kind of what the lessons learned were for you through this process. Is there anything else of those tools or those lessons that we haven't already touched on that you want to share?
I feel like my biggest tool that I've been given is just a healthier mindset, and And of course, I have so many great tools, like your cookbook was amazing in helping me to be able to have ideas of things. And I found a lot more since then, even that we've added into our rotation. My, yeah, the physical outlet was big for me too. I'm still working on getting my health down, my weight down a bit, so that I can do more physical activity. But the yoga and breath work and some walking have been really good starting points. And
Yeah.
I feel like just this renewed excitement, I guess, for where I can go
Yeah.
with my health, where I felt so bogged down before, that I'm slowly feeling layers peeling off of different symptoms of things that I've experienced and was experiencing, even with my inflammation. And um, the tools are going to be there for the rest of my life now. I feel like with this total mind shift, though, that I really have to go back to that, letting
Yeah.
go of my perfectionism and decluttering and allowing room in my life to be able to start enjoying
Yes.
myself again. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've touched on it, and I'm going to add it to the list while we're kind of putting it all side by side, tapping into your own intuition,
Yes. That's been,
trusting
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I did not trust myself at all. I
No.
felt like I needed somebody to tell me what to do, because I had given that power over to
Yeah.
so many programs in the past.
Right.
And now, in fact, I haven't even told you this. I was at a presentation for something else, and somebody was talking about the latest and greatest thing that they've found with some drops that can lose weight just so quickly with this. And I had just the strongest repulsion against it. It's like, no, I don't want anything that's going to shortchange me to lose it so fast that I can't learn about myself and keep these things permanent.
Wow.
It is a profound difference in me, where I would have been signing up for that class.
Yes. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, in a heartbeat. Yeah.
I love what you said. I don't want the quick fix, basically, because that would rob me of the learning process to be able to make it stay.
And I felt that very deeply. I was shocked. Yeah.
Cool. Ooh, thanks for telling me that. That is so cool. I've heard that before. I've heard that from other clients that have really worked on that growth mindset. That is now, they are so over the quick fixes for that exact reason. Yeah. They know, they value so much more. They value the process and the development and the person they get to become. Yeah. More than they value the before and after picture, or that, that number on the scale, or the results, or whatever it is, that finish line, right? That finish line mentality goes away when you just lean into engaging in the process. That's so cool. I love that. Yep. Beautiful, Shauna. So you feel like you have a foundation. You've worked from the inside out, kind of this mindset stuff, and now stuff is starting to fall into place with nutrition. You're trusting your process. You're so patient I know that you want to do more with fitness and movement and exercise, but you've just found what works for you right now, and you're leaning into that. I feel like we could have a whole other conversation about yoga. I love that yoga was something you were already doing. And I think that just showed so much courage and self-love, because you weren't at the weight that you wanted to be yet. And I know so many women feel like, yeah, I'll do yoga when I look like her, So I just want to acknowledge you for that just showed so much self-love and just acceptance of, I'm going to start exactly where I am. Do you feel that yoga helped kind of with that self-acceptance and like loving and accepting your body as it is right now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And I found a wonderful studio near me where I just absolutely love the teacher. She has such a fostering or a nurturing and um, thing where she helps us to understand that our bodies at different points every day and just to love it. And I just learned to become so much more patient with myself and not to expect my body to perform the same every day. That to listen and tune in with it. That has been
Yeah.
a huge benefit for me through the yoga.
Awesome.
It's given me confidence, even though I'm always the largest woman in the room, you know. But I have gained a lot of confidence because I'm actually quite flexible and can do a lot of things that I didn't realize that I could do,
Yeah.
and so it's helped to strengthen myself. In
Mhm.
fact, I don't think I told you this either. I did a yoga challenge at our studio at um, around the holiday time. They Christmas and first of the year, they were having a challenge to do so many classes and get out of our comfort zones of just going to our favorite classes and try other types of classes offered. And I filled up an entire bingo card of doing things and feeling very uncomfortable and going to things very much outside of my comfort zone where I could not do some of the things for sure. They
Yeah.
were beyond me, but I tried them and nobody made me feel bad about it. If anything, there was one time when I came home discouraged, just frustrated that I couldn't do what I could see myself doing it at some point and wanting to be able to do it, but I couldn't. And I got over it and said, it's okay. This is where my body is, and I'm just going to go. And the teachers were always just so helpful and would show me things that because I'm not the only one that was trying things out new, you know, she would show us things that we could do to make different, what was the word, accommodations for
Yeah.
different movements, you know. And I really gained a lot of confidence that I can do harder things than I thought I could.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, thanks for sharing that a little bit because I love yoga, and some clients are like, I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, and other people are like, yeah, I might try that. So I think it's helpful for people to know that can be a really beautiful, safe place to start, because there is this attitude and this energy of accept where you are and listen to your body. I think it really helps us get in tune. And I think sometimes we can get into life and we almost kind of disconnect from our body.
Yeah,
We don't trust it, we don't understand it, we don't know how to listen to it. And yoga can be a really good integrating process, which it sounds like it's been like for you.
yeah. And if you find a good gentle yoga or restorative yoga class to start with,
Yeah.
it's much more focused on that to naturally to begin with.
Yeah.
And so it isn't doing crazy moves. It's just learning to
Yes.
move your body and build strength and to build a love with yourself. So
Yes.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, I
Yeah.
think that's a good place to end. Is there any last bit of wisdom or advice that you would give to someone else that is trying to navigate all of this health and wellness stuff too?
I would say just to listen to your gut instincts of what you feel that you need to do. And if you realize, like I did after so many years of thinking you had it all figured out and could do it on your own, and yet you weren't making any progress, it's definitely worth it. It has been so worth it for me to be able to step out of my comfort zone and discover a whole new world of coaching, wellness coaching, life coaching that I did not anticipate would be so life changing. I really could not have fathomed 6 months ago all of the great growth and personal progress that I'd make. So
Beautiful.
do it.
Beautiful. Thank you
It's
so
worth
much.
it.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And thanks for being willing to share your experiences with me and with everyone else that will see this video. For those of you watching, you can go to danielledinkleman.com, reach out to me there if this is something you're interested in. I do have a book if you are a little bit more like Shauna and you want to just kind of see what it's all about. It's called If Diets Don't Work, What Does? Hey, there it is right there. So we've got some resources for you. And, you know, even if it's not me, if I'm not the coach, reach out to me and maybe I can connect you with someone who is. But we just hope that wherever you're at in your journey, that you can start to take your next step and tuning into what is correct for you. And keep coming back to the YouTube channel. We're doing more client reflection videos like this year. And then I'm focused on actually recording audios of the chapters of my book. So if you're not a reader and you're more of an audio person, that's a great place to go. And until next time, thanks for watching.